I'm the boys with the corner. Oh, cat table with splits in it. Not that cat table, what we live is. No one does it better than Mike in business. On the mic with Mike. Check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mike, the Premier Business Radio program. I'm your host, Mike King. I appreciate you being here with me. This is part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network, which is ESPN Richmond 106.1, The Choice 105.3 every day from 2 to 3, as well as International Business Coach Radio. What we do is we talk to the game changers out there. We talk to the best and the brightest. We got a friend of the family. We got a rock star in the building. Radio B is here. Radio, welcome to the program.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So last time you were here, you were with my girl, Steph B. You were in the other studio. She is the Brooklyn Betty with the business breakdown. She also gives you 16 bars of business. If you want to know business and you want to hear it like no one else has ever given it to you, make sure you check out Steph B. She is out there doing big things. That is my partner. All righty, sir. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
I am Radio B. I am a hip hop artist out of Richmond, Virginia, as well as an entrepreneur, fashion designer, strategist, platform builder, a couple of different things. Wear different hats.
You are that. And you seem to be like a Renaissance man. And one of the reasons I say that is, like I said, when I came to the group that Cheats put on, shout out to Mark Cheatham and the Cheats movement.
My guy.
And so when we're in that group, a group of, 20 people or whatever, when you talk, people listen. And I'm an outsider, so I don't know who anybody is.
Right.
I just look at this and your perspective on community and business. It resonated to everybody in the building. So you're a platform builder. Talk about that part of it and where you got all this vision from, because I know. So you have a clothing line as well, and it's dedicated to your mother.
Yes.
Shout out to. So I saw you over at RVA Fashion Week.
Yes.
With in the mix.
Shout out to Jimmy Budd.
Shout out to my man Jimmy Budd. Hopefully Philly. That's my town right there. All righty, really quickly. So let us talk about the young radio, and when you were out there looking, where'd you get all this insight from?
Wow. That's an interesting question. I think just growing up in hip hop and growing and watching your heroes in hip hop, you just see them naturally all becoming entrepreneurs and doing different things. So I think if you really embody the heart of like the hip hop culture, I think an entrepreneurial spirit actually is part of that culture as well. Unfortunately, we don't own our culture, the music business side of it, the way that we should. But I do believe that there has been a huge entrepreneurial spirit around hip hop culture as it's continuing to grow. So I think that just plays a part of it for me. Also, my mom, she just was always like, she didn't want me to work for anybody all my life, so or even though right now I have a job, but it's a very unique situation that came about from the things that I do from an entrepreneurial side. So it's a beautiful thing, but my influences are pretty vast as far as just and ultimately I figured if I wasn't going to work for anybody, I was going to do things for myself, that it would need to be tied to the things that I love. So everything that I do is tied to hip hop and the people I love.
So when you were a young guy out there and, everybody was spitting bars, everybody was dropping lines and writing lyrics, when did you know you had something?
That's an interesting question too, because I think that came to me early on only because I started rapping more so because my peers in school, the ciphers and things that were going on in school, I saw, friends of mine that rapped, and I was impressed by them, and that's what made me want to try my hand at it more than anything external. So me actually gaining their respect relatively quickly, probably by my third or fourth rap or verse that I wrote, I had impressed upon them. And then before I knew it, they had me recording it. You know, one of my friends, shout out to Canada, he put me on his tape, gave me my own track on the tape. And, you know, and then seeing, you know, the kids in school and different people like impressed by that. I was
They
hooked.
look at you different.
Yeah, it gave me a different walk. Definitely.
How old were you at that point about?
17 probably.
About 17?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're here to talk about Flag on the Moon. That's the business venture. When did you look at hip hop from not just the show part, but the business side of it and how that could be something?
I think for me, it's an extension of it's like it's certain things that you can't accomplish without applying business to it, right? So, you know, so for instance, Flag on the Moon, I don't look at as initiated as a business venture more so than another way to express, like, you know, it's kind of a means to an end. Like if you want to put on, I didn't like how some of the promoters and people that were handling shows were handling us,
Okay.
right? So it was, you know, I knew that the people were going to come out to see us, right? And it was like, how can I put on the type of show for us that gives us the freedom to perform the type of sets we want to perform, to control, you know, control the money that is being paid to see us. You know, that was really, it was a more of a means to an end. It's like we need to be able to perform and we need to be able to get paid what we deserve to get paid for it. And we don't need to be worried about how a promoter wants to book us, what kind of set they want to give us, all of that. Like
You're cutting all that out.
cut it all out, cut the middleman out. And that was really, really the inspiration behind that.
I want to make Mike Radio be here with us. We are the best business radio program around, talking to this young man. Has a lot going on. Let's talk about owning intellectual property and stuff like that. So we're going to cut the middleman out of the physical part of it. When you talk to young people out there and they are gifted, they are in whatever they do, whether it's creativity, whether it is drawing, rapping, whatever it is, talk to them about the importance of owning their masters. We know what time that is.
It's super important, and I think, you know, being independent is it's not difficult anymore. You know, you have, especially if you're releasing music, you can go through, you know, United Masters, you can go through DistroKid. They're gonna allow you to keep the majority, more than 90% of, you know, your royalties for streaming or sold music. But you can also go through other channels like Bandcamp, things like that, where you don't have to have a record label in the middle of your distribution to the people anymore, right? So you don't have to split with them, and in the same ways that you know would, just to get to the people. Unfortunately, we're in a time with streaming where you don't actually you're not actually reaping the type of benefits that you should for people playing your music. So you can, another way about it, and I think this is if you can really dedicate and discipline yourself, and it's something that there's two sides to a coin, right? You can run your own website. You can go through like a Squarespace, establish your own website, which will allow you to sell your music, sell your merch, keep a tab on all the people that are engaging with that website, so that you don't have to rely on social media as much or the streaming sites as much to tap in or connect with your fan base. It's a great place um to galvanize your fan base. But of course, the streaming platforms are kind of like help you connect with a larger base of people, right? So that's the other side of the coin. So you have to figure out how to kind of play those things against each other, or eliminate streaming altogether, and just take the longer route.
All right, Flag on the Moon. Let's talk about the creation of that. When you sat there and thought about what were you in year 7?
7.
When you thought about putting it together, okay, what was the biggest hurdle that you're like, man, I don't know where this is gonna work?
The biggest hurdle for me in thinking about it was whether or not I was gonna get my brothers to do it, which didn't last long because I just, I centered it around my birthday. I hit up Mike, I hit up Nick. I'm like, will you come and perform at my concert for my birthday? Oh, of course,
Okay.
And so once
So some buy-in.
yeah, once I got that, and that was really what I wanted to see. I knew once that was confirmed and once we got the ball rolling on promotion that people were gonna want to come and see us on a united front. And we had an incredible first flag. I think the other challenge was the Broadberry didn't want to give us a weekend date, so they gave us a Thursday. So we were doing this huge event on a Thursday night.
How so for folks of my age right there, how big a deal is that?
It's a really big deal because people don't want to be out on a Thursday night,
Okay.
right? So it just didn't have the effect that I thought it was going to have. People were out there till 2 a.m, and this is after the show, but the energy was just incredible. I think there's people that were there that night can still tell you, how they felt about that.
And what year was that?
I think this was 2015 or 16.
Okay. So I came here in 2014, and maybe around 17 I started to hear, when does it cross over into mainstream media? Because before, I guess you guys were just doing your thing. When does it start to reach people my age? I'm 62. That all of a sudden regular TV, regular radio start to show some love to what you're doing?
I don't know that regular radio is showing love. I mean, so I have some records that hit regular radio, right? But as far as like Flag on the Moon, I still think it's very much an underground, very much a organic thing, which means that because there's an organic buzz, you do start to see it show its head and pop up and be talked about in a lot of places that it wouldn't normally be, like here, for instance. I think part of that has to do with I spend a lot of time and intention on bridging gaps between different scenes, whether it be the fashion scene, whether it be the live music scene, the open mic scene, the spoken word scene, the brand and marketing scene and industry now. And I make a lot of connections and I do good by a lot of people. And because of that, I think just you start to hear the things that I'm doing talked about in rooms that I don't walk in.
You are not in. Your
Absolutely.
name is in rooms that you are not in.
Yeah, I'm noticing that more lately.
There you go. On the mic, Mike Radio B here with us. How can people find you out there?
You can follow me on all social media platforms at Radio Blitz. You can go to my website, killthedreamer.com. You can follow Flag on the Moon at Flag on the Moon 7 on Instagram. And also you can shop with me at mamajoscollection.com.
There you go. Alrighty. So one of the great parts about having your own radio show is you see people out there making moves and doing things. It is something that young folks have created this energy and this buzz and putting the money side to, which is merch. Because I didn't come from that time where, who are you? You can have merch. Right. So shout out to my boys over at Free Lunch that that they are out there really doing some cool things. I had on also foreign exchange. Had the guys,
shout out to foreign exchange.
Had those guys on, and I asked them. They said, "When did you know it was time to leave the music alone and move over to the clothing side?" And it's just like in any business. He said, "When the bread stopped coming in." That's so any business, any entrepreneur who's out there, you look at when is it time to shift over. So when did the clothing side for you, how do you run from a business model, the clothing side? Do you keep that separate from the music side? Keep that separate from Rap Elite? Or is
Yeah,
all of that coming together?
it all comes together for me. Because they're all extensions of me. So I try to tie them in where they can. I don't force anything to where, I'm overdoing it. I try to keep the connections subtle so that they each can have their own identities without them, there being this like overt bleed or, shameless plugging or anything like that. But I think that they do all tie together ultimately, in one way or another. And I think that it's important that they do, because it shows the full breadth of the things that I'm involved with, the things that I love. And I think for me as a brand, it is these are arms and legs of what the Radio B brand is, which is extended beyond just making music at this point.
When you look at the collective here, the scene, as far as spoken word talent, MCing, let's talk about the creative side. What makes Richmond right now so hot?
Uh, Richmond is just it's a melting pot of creativity, of and that can be from culinary to music to live music, whatever genre you could think of, underground hip hop, all sorts of different styles of music. Like, so if you're talking about rock, there's all sorts of different styles of rock that is popular here, but also or really good here. And the same thing with rap and hip hop and R&B, neo soul. We have, world champion spoken word artists. There's just so much. I mean, the visual arts, incredible. The murals. There's just, shout out to Mending Walls. There's just so much denseness in the creative world here, that I think is super underrated, underappreciated, and deserves more national spotlight. And I think it'll happen.
One of the cool parts about it is back in the day. I mean, so I'm from Philly. My wife's from New York. You had to go to New York. You wanted to hit it. You got to go to. It didn't matter where you were coming from, California, 3,000 miles away, or Philly, 90 miles away.
Right.
It didn't happen where you were. You had to go to New York.
Right.
Times have changed.
Absolutely.
Times have changed. So now, if you have talent, it comes and finds you. Yeah. Talk to a young person out there who's trying to make a dream come true, trying to make the hustle work, and they're running into some things, but you don't have to go to New York. You can sit right here in Richmond or be anywhere. You can come out of Farmville, VA. We know because people have been shouting out Farmville.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, social media is the great equalizer. And I mean, you hear about that all the time, but there's just so many different ways to get to an audience now, that there wasn't when, I was coming up. So it's like, even from that perspective, it's like I have to always readjust my game plan as to how I go about reaching new people. But you got, a lot of and I don't have to tell the youth that, because they're growing up with this technology, right? So they're growing up as experts of how to create content, of how to edit photos, of how to splice video, edit video.
It's crazy.
That's just, these are second nature skills to them. These are not these when I was, 20 something years old or a teenager, right? Like, you had to know people that were professionals doing these things, photo editing and video editing. This is just naturally part of their everyday devices. My daughter's got a tablet, she knows how to do these things, so it's like
they're born with this finger knowing that if they do this thing, I mean, it's so crazy now because back a long time when I was a kid, if you got the Encyclopedia Britannica, World Book of Knowledge, you were it. They updated that joint once a year.
Right.
So,
Right. Now it's like anything that happens is going to Wikipedia. It's going, the access to knowledge
which is a great equalizer.
Or information, I should say. Information and knowledge, not the same thing. But the access to information is so readily available. You can figure out how to do anything, whether it be working on a house, working on a car, working on your, whatever your creative project, and you pull up on YouTube.
I'm not a creative guy. I'm not a guy who has to fix things. But I went to look at my car and I looked at the YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
It still didn't work for me.
Yeah, I'm not the most handy guy either.
I see him looking at that same video that I was looking at, but it worked for him.
Right.
He knew how to take that and make it work. You have something that's new for you. You're starting over Virginia Union. Talk about what you're doing over, and shout out to all the good folks over at Union.
Yes, shout out to Union. Shout out to Ricky Parker for for not only bringing me in as artist in residence for the 2022-23 school year, but also bridging the gap between the students at Virginia Union and the hip hop scene, and constantly making those efforts. So me and artists in residence, my role is to engage the student body in the realms of hip hop in its different diverse ways as possible. So, well, starting out, our first engagement is this coming Wednesday, the 30th at 7:00. We'll be doing, myself, Nicholas F. will be doing God Tier and exploration and high level lyricism, where we'll be doing a lecture and workshop on high level lyricism, the mechanics of it, the psychology behind it, the history of it, just the full breakdown on what it takes to be a high level MC, and giving examples and opening up the floor for discussion. It's going to be a really, really, really dope experience. And it's open to the public as well.
One of the things from my generation, we were there when hip hop started, never thought it would last. This ain't lasting, this hip hop, hippity. Hey, we had a good time. We didn't realize then that hip hop and the culture changed the world.
Absolutely.
It changed not only culture, it changed the way people do business as well.
Yeah.
And here we are right now where we're getting young people who are out there. It doesn't take a computer. It takes a phone.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have phone and you have access, you have the ability to go, and you guys are looking at situations totally different. Like you said, 18-year-old, the skills that they have, or a 15-year-old, we had to go somewhere and learn those skills.
Right.
Those are skills that they do every day. So when you're in there talking about high level lyricisms, people looking at the culture of hip hop, it's totally changed the way we see things. And shout out to Dr. Parker over there for all of the great things.
Absolutely.
Of understanding the power of that. I always say there's power in words.
100%.
There's currency in, clearly.
Man, words and numbers.
They go together.
Absolutely universal.
All righty, we are here. Radio B is with us. How can people find you out there one last time?
KillTheDreamer.com, Radio Blitz on all platforms. You can check out my new album, Stop Looking for Noise, on all digital streaming platforms as well. And Flag on the Moon 7 is December 11th at the Broadberry. You can get tickets right now at thebroadberry.com or via our link in bio on Instagram at Flag on the Moon 7.
Shout out to a number of the businesses you see popping up on Broad Street. Shout out to Noah.
Yes. Shout. He'll be performing at Flag on the Moon as well. Yeah. So, I mean, we have an incredible bill for Flag on the Moon as well.
Yeah. You know what? Always talk about love and sponsors. You want to shout out and show some love to any of the sponsors?
Yes. So, shout out to Mama Joe's Collection, obviously.
That would be you.
Yeah, that would be me. Also RVA Rap Elite. Shout out to DJ Reese, 50 Tongues, 100 Lungs. He's definitely down with the movement as well. Yeah, I mean, right now we don't have shout out to Virginia's Finest. I know that they're looking to be vendors as well at Flag on the Moon, and he's doing, Karma's doing some incredible things. And then shout out to all the MCs that are performing as well. So you got Big B, you got Noah O, you have Black Lick, you have Chance Fisher, you have Trig.
Shout out to Chance. I didn't think that people didn't realize how nice he was.
Oh, incredible. Always been.
Who came to school, man? That's Steph B.
Yeah.
Steph B is just like, I don't know how you don't know how nice Chauncey is on the mic.
Yeah, no, he's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shout out to Chance. When I first heard Chance around, I'm like, yo, okay. But always know him from being really great on the hospitality and the business side of it. Didn't know he was rocking the mic.
Yeah, it's been for as long as I've known him, for many years now. So I'm glad that he's now kind of like putting music as more of a forefront, getting his projects done and out. And I think he's signed a deal too with a local label that's helping him distribute that music. So shout out to Chance.
Alrighty, a young rapper, young entertainer, performer who's out there who wants to do something. What do they need to do?
Man, check out RVA Rap Elite. So RVARapElite.com. We'll be back in January for season 6. So the cipher is open to the public always. So you can sign up there. Obviously signups have not started yet, but they will in January. Also just tap in with all the different platforms that are in the city. Shout out to the Music Shop. They're doing some incredible things. Man, I don't want to forget anybody, but
since my feelings gonna get hurt.
Yeah. But there's Melodic Mondays is a great open mic for artists that are just kind of getting out there and wanting to perform. And there's an incredible scene to tap into. There's been a time in the past where you couldn't really say that. But there are a lot of platforms in addition to RVA Rap Elite that you can tap into. Of course, if you into battle rap, we also have a league called Southpaw Battle Coalition. So we're looking to give as many artists an opportunity to show their mettle. And thing about my platforms is, though, you got to push yourself. The more you push yourself, the more you keep your eyes open, the more you network while you're in the platform, the more you push your pen, the more you get out of it. And that's just the way the system is designed.
Shout out to Kula.
Shout out to Kula.
Shout out to Kula.
That was our first woman Cypher champion.
And
absolutely.
She wore the belt proudly. She let people know.
For sure.
She let people know. And in the male-dominated world, shout out to Kula and all the great things she's doing. All right, we got to run. As I always say, the microphone ain't free. Plus, my grandkid needs stuff. Support this young man right here. He is doing some amazing things. Already, one last time, how can people find you?
KillerDreamer.com, Radio Blitz on all platforms, Flag on the Moon 7 on Instagram.
On the mic, Mike, we're the best out there. We are the voice of RVA business. This man out there is really doing some cool things. So support him. We got to run. On the mic, Mike, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks now.
Thank you.